Hello there. This is Father Michael coming to you from St. Francis of Assisi Parish, and it's been a while, hasn't it? I've been on vacation for the last week. I went up to Michigan and had some fun up there with some other priest friends of mine. It was a good time. It was very relaxing, but also a good reminder. As the time went on, I was like, I'm ready to come home. So I love being a priest and I love being here, especially in Marshalltown with all of you fine people. Today we hear in our first reading from the book of the prophet Jeremiah. And we hear about this other prophet who is there also around the same time as Jeremiah. His name is Hananiah. And Hananiah is prophesying because this is the time of the Babylonian exile, and so things are not going very well. This prophet is prophesying to the people saying, God is going to break the yokes of the Babylonian kings and everything is going to go back to the way it was. He's going to bring back the exiles. Everything is going to be good and great and back to the way it was. And that sounds awesome. It really does. And Jeremiah even says to him, that's a great prophecy. But he's also reminding him that this is in God's time, not in our time. We can't make things the way we want them to be or imagine them to be the way we want them to be. And we see that it doesn't go very well for Hananiah because he continues to persist in saying, this is what's going to happen. He's prophesying the good things. He's only hearing good things. And the Lord says through the prophet Jeremiah then, Hananiah is actually preaching rebellion against the Lord because God is actually showing the people something through this. He is teaching them through this time of trial. It's true that God can use our difficulties in life to teach us sometimes, or He can help us to grow in some way or another. We always know that God can bring good out of something that might only appear to be evil. And for us in our own lives, how does this manifest for us? Where we, like the prophet Hananiah, where we want to imagine things to be better or try to make them better ourselves without really allowing God to work within our hearts. Now, we know we can do a lot by our own strength, but really God is always calling us to be more faithful to Him, to trust in Him at every moment of our lives. We see that in the gospel as well, that in the gospel is Jesus walking on the water, and He calls Peter to Him to walk on the water. And we see Peter being faithful in that moment where he takes his first step out there. But then he kind of looks around, he sees all the things around him, and he starts to falter and he starts to fall into the water because his faith in that moment is weak. He is fearful of all the things around him. God is calling us to an everyday, every moment faithfulness. And we can't break out of that when we get tired of trying to be faithful to God and we want things just to be better. We have to remain faithful. It just doesn't work that way. So perhaps you find yourself being a little weighed down I feel myself being weighed down by the way that coronavirus is right now. It's hard to continue to abide by all of the social distancing guidelines. It's hard to imagine that everything's going to be the same way as it is right now forever. And we don't know how it'll be, and it doesn't exclude that there could be something great that God does, that He works good miracles, a great vaccine, but we just don't know what's going to happen. So let's ask God today for that everyday faithfulness, to trust in Him alone, that we don't try to seek other sorts of things to put our trust in, some false prophets that where we try to put all of our trust in, because ultimately the only prophet, the only person we can put our trust in is God alone, who loves us and who's always going to work for our good. God bless you today.